Behind me is the Boise River. Runs right through downtown Boise, Idaho. It's about 25 yards from my door. This river is above flood stage. Alerts have been put out to everyone saying stay away from the river, don't go in the river, don't let your dogs go in the river. We've already had a couple of people's dogs die because how fast this thing is. Just so you know, flood level is 7,000 cubic feet per second, and this river now is at, and that's flood level, this river now is at 8,100 cubic feet per second, and they're going to raise it to 12,000 cubic feet per second. Now, the Army Corps of Engineers has to do that in order to relieve pressure off the dam, which is being fed by way higher than normal snowmelt and higher than normal rain. It's a big deal, and I'll show you why some more. The reason I'm showing this video is this is a pretty real SHTF scenario for some people that live further downriver from here. Now at 12,000 cubic feet per second, if you see where the water line is here, which is where I'm standing, right, the water is going to get up to there, which still doesn't put where I live in any danger, and we would not be given an evacuation order. However, folks downstream, about 5 miles from here, will. Why? Because they wanted the $1 million houses and were told they weren't on a floodplain, and they really are, and it sucks to be them. So at 12,000 cubic feet per second, the river still would just barely be coming up the banks there. Now take a look at how this building has been built. It's pretty much on pylons. Everything that you see on the first level is actually the garage. There are no living spaces there. So in order for the water to even threaten this building or anyone living in it, the water would have to be, well, the dam would have to break. And that's the point. Now the Army Corps of Engineers says it's going to give people about 12 to 24 hours to bug out if they have to raise the level to 12,000, which is almost a certainty. But the question is, if you're given 12 hours and knowing that somebody is going to raise the level to flood your place, what do you do? Seriously, that's a serious question. So now that you know that you're probably going to get a notice that you're going to have to leave your really expensive house on your 1 acre and your horses and your dogs and all that kind of stuff, and you're going to have to leave. Because when they flood the river like that, it's going to trash your house. It's going to trash your property, and you're not going to be able to stay in the home. So you can't bug in, right? So what kind of preps should you have, knowing, and what should you do, knowing that you have to leave? Well, and you're going to be gone for at least a week. This isn't like an overnight deal. And if there are not enough hotel rooms in the city to accommodate all the people that are going to have to leave. It's not going to be as bad as the Orofino Dam down in California, but there will be some folks that are going to be displaced. So, do you know where you're going to go? If you have the money, maybe you can stay in a hotel or motel somewhere for a week. That's really expensive. The county will probably make available some kind of shelters, but most rich folks don't like to stay with other folks and play like they're being homeless. So where would they go? Maybe they have friends that are at higher ground. That does happen, but don't know. But you're going to have to take stuff with you. Hopefully, that you've been prepared. So what kind of things do you need to think about? Well, this is not I'm never coming home kind of scenario. It's just I'm going to be home like in a while, right? So it's probably more than 72 hours. The good news is almost certainly you'll be able to have stuff in your car. So you can use your vehicle and have enough preps in your vehicle that you know you couldn't carry on you. So this isn't a bug out bag type of thing. But you would want to have enough food to accommodate yourself for a week for however many people. Probably would not have to worry about water. Remember, this is a controlled event, which is better than having the dam break, which is what would happen if they didn't do that. But you still want to have water. Again, I would think in terms of food, water, at a minimum of 72 hours worth. I would probably go 2 weeks worth of at least food. And then your hygiene things. So those little small travel portions that you can get at most stores. For all of the items that I would need, I would have 2 or 3 of those. Think going on a 2-week cruise or a 2-week trip. And that would be the kind of stuff that I would take. I would remove the hard drives from my computer if it was a regular computer, and any drives that are external, as well as my laptop. So you take all that stuff with you. You would need to have any batteries or charging devices for your phone, cameras, computers, whatever your tech is going to be, wherever you're going to be. If I could, I would take about 2 weeks worth of cash, or make sure that that amount was in your account, so that you're not going to be stuck worrying about how you're going to pay for things once you get out on the road. The next part would be, what about fuel for your car? Remember, this is a controlled event. You will probably have access to fuel, but it's always nice to make sure that you fill up your car, right, before you leave. The next item would be family-size first aid. So this would be your IFAC or your individual first aid kit or blowout kit, plus what you would take if you were going camping for a week, right? Whether it's RV camping or whether it's other camping, stuff that would take care of boo-boos, medication, make sure all your medication is with you that you need. Assume that hygiene, personal hygiene, is going to be important, because it will. You should have the ability to keep yourself odor-free without having to take a shower. So, get those big packages of no rinse cloths that you can use, and they work very good. They have aloe, and they do a pretty good job of taking care of you. Again, think camping. And you're going to want to make sure that you have the ability to take care of business if you happen to have to drive and there's no facilities around. Just think about that one for a minute. Now, if you have firearms, you can't take your safe. You know what I'm saying? If you have stuff in the safe, you can't take your safe. That's not going to happen. So, which one long gun, which pistol, and enough ammunition, say 500 rounds each, take that with you. The rest, just hope it's going to be there when you get back, because you can't take everything. Make sure that any important papers you have, if you have the originals, make sure you have the originals. What I do is I have a secure file folder out in the cloud, and all of my stuff that's really important I put out there. And I give access to certain key family members so that they can have access to it if something happens to me. Something to think about. If you have livestock or pets, let's say you have horses or pigs or whatever, or a combination on your property, you're not going to be able to take them with you. And you're not going to have enough time to get them trailered, hooked up, and then haul them out. There's just not going to be enough time for that. Domestic pets, excuse me, dogs, cats, you probably throw them in the car with you. I had one person say, well, I'm taking everything that I have. Well, you can't do that. Well, I'm just going to call a moving van and they're going to come and they're going to, trust me, there are not enough moving vans in the state to move that many houses that quickly. Further, there's not enough temporary storage to put it. So you need to think about what you're going to leave. Think about that now, right? And yeah, there's going to be some important stuff, there's going to be some expensive stuff, but you got to go. You got to go. And you can't take everything with you. So what would a bug out system look like? Well, let me show you. So you want to be comfortable, even if you're not necessarily in a comfortable place. Assume the worst. And so it's nice to have, this is a roll-up table for camping, and it fits anywhere. It's lightweight, very lightweight. This is a little fold-up chair. It's also extremely light and compact. Stuff like that makes being away a bit more comfortable. Don't forget to have some kind of power to recharge your technology and then to give you lighting and that kind of stuff. So you want to have some lights that will work, assuming that you might need them. If you think you might need to heat food or cook a little bit and you won't have a flame or fire available, I highly recommend these hot meal bags, which are way better than MRE heaters. This thing will heat the contents to 212 degrees, which includes, it'll boil water. It'll really make MREs, you can put 2 or 3 MRE packages in there and it'll heat them up really, really well. And this thing does not require any flame at all. Much better than MREs. And they're about $1.50 each, just to give you a flavor. So the next thing you want to think of is, where does your food go, and where do your kitchen utensils and plates and cooking pots and stuff like that go? Well, they go in a system that looks like this. And I keep this in the apartment, and I actually have different types of freeze-dried food as well as MREs in there. And I love this stuff, so I pretty much eat that all the time. But what's important is that these are portable, and you can quickly snatch these guys up. And by the way, just so you know, this is about a month's worth of food with all the other stuff that you would need in a kitchen. Let me show you where it would go. So the bags that I showed you earlier with the food and utensils all fit in this container, which was not a very expensive thing, including all the stuff that you see in here now. So you snatch it up, you throw it in here, and you're ready to rock and roll. Now also in there is a road safety kit. That's the human element range extender, also known as a piss bottle with the female attachment. You got to have one of those. And this is where you put that other material. So you're ready to go camping, or you're ready to go and bug out in your vehicle pretty much at a moment's notice. Now, based on what else you're going to carry, I have another container. In here is pretty much ammunition. for the various firearms that I have. I carry that because I go shooting a lot, and it's a pain in the butt to move things up and down stairs or in the elevator. There's another one of these on the other side. So there's plenty of storage, and there's plenty of storage to put things on top of these if you have an SUV. So let's talk about the idea of a bug-out bag now that you have a vehicle that you're probably going to use. Think I'm going on a 1-week cruise, and I want my stuff, and I'm not going to have a rollerboard, and I just need to have my personal things with me. All of your computers and cords and all that can go in there. Think of it as your remote office if you want to look at it that way. Some first aid stuff, personal hygiene things can all go in the bug-out bag. Again, if you can conceal carry or you can open carry, you can have some magazines in there for either your rifle or your pistol or both. So you would have very quickly able to egress from the house to the vehicle, and the vehicle is going to carry more than you will, but you'll still have this idea of a bug-out bag, so you can move things back and forth into the hotel or into the other place where you're staying. You will be a temporary guest in some other place. And think 2 weeks. At least the situation that I explained here, which is a real event, is going to be that long, and it's going to be inconvenient. And it hasn't happened here, gosh, since 1955. So people haven't thought about that, which explains why you probably need to be a prepper, you see. So I know I didn't cover everything, and I'd sure welcome any thoughts that you guys and ladies might have on this subject. As always, thanks for watching. Carry on.